If you're looking for a bungalow in Oakville, there are many things you have to consider. First of all, they're not all in the same area, they do not cost the same, and they're definitely not all the same styles. In this video, I'm going to show you the Oakville areas where you'll find bungalows, what kind of bungalows are in each one of those areas, the price ranges you'll be looking at, and really what areas will match your needs by identifying the major features in each neighborhood. I'm Michael Wright, I'm a realtor, and I focus on seniors housing transitions. And before you buy any bungalow, I want you to understand what you're actually buying. Almost 30 years of research has proven to me that you cannot decide what to buy and where to buy until you decided why you want to move. Or simply put, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? Because in Oakville, bungalows are not all in one place. They are not all the same type, and they're definitely not the same price range. So why don't you keep a few things in mind? What kind of bungalow stock is actually in these areas? What does the area feel like on a day-to-day basis? But more importantly, what is the cost of a bungalow that may be unrenovated? And what is the cost of a bungalow that may be renovated or totally rebuilt? Now let's start with Central Oakville. Well, welcome to Central Oakville. This is probably where we're going to see our most eclectic collection of bungalows. And we're going to walk through and look at the different designs and just give you a feel of what's available in this neighborhood. One thing, the beauty of this neighborhood is we're really walking distance to downtown Oakville, where we have the advantages of shopping and we have the advantages of all the stores and services that we'll need. Let's just walk with me and we'll just look at a couple of different types. On the right there, that gray one, is more of a ranch bungalow, and a ranch bungalow we describe is they have the large frontage, so it's, you know, it's that sprawling ranch design, I guess would be why it's named that. If we're looking at the neighborhood, you'll see many of the homes have been torn down and renovated, but this would be a 1950s bungalow, traditional design. Not many upgrades to that one. People have just used it as a great family spot to live in. This one actually backs onto 16 Mile Creek, so on one side of the street you're going to have X number of dollars, but just because it backs onto the river, you could add hundreds of thousands of dollars to the value of that lot. So in this, you know, who lives in this neighborhood? It changed over the years. Traditionally it was, you know, a very old neighborhood, so you had original owners that could have been here from the 60s and 70s and 80s, to newer families who had, you know, renovated or built brand new homes to accommodate growing families. So again, you have that eclectic look of not only house types, but you also have the people that live in the neighborhood. In the videos we were talking about land value, because the homes on the riverside become so valuable, the land is, that people will buy them and knock down what we think are very nice homes just to put custom-built homes in there. They range in age. I mean, these neighborhoods are 70, 80s, you know, 90 years old. And a lot of times you'll have the great example of just a post-war 1950s bungalow was the standard at the time, and beside it again is another smaller example of very basic bungalows that were built to accommodate families actually back in the 50s and the 60s. And this is an example of how the buildings will depreciate so much, but the land will increase in value. So then you'll have people start, like this home down here, is they'll tear down that old bungalow and start regentrifying the neighborhood. Actually, here's a great example in a space of 5 houses, how we can transform like a basic bungalow that hasn't been renovated to something that has been renovated on the exterior. You still walk to the lake, walk to downtown, walk to actually a brand new Shoppers Drug Mart down around the corner, a brand new dollar store around the corner, brand new grocery store. But again, you have the bungalow that hasn't anything been done to it. We can actually, as we walk past, we'll go to another one where they've done renovations on it, and you can see what the transformation on the outside looks like. So follow me. And actually, here's an example is where we talk about the land value getting so much is that you would tear down and build a large structure. Or a lot of people like the idea of having that bungalow. So if we look to the next door here, here's an example of where they've done extensive work on the outside to have that comfortable bungalow lifestyle, but a very attractive outside also. Back at the office, let's break down Central Oakville. Central is one of the largest areas where we'll find a variety of bungalows in the marketplace. They have 57 recent sales. That matters because it gives the buyer a genuine choice and a better pool of comparables than almost anywhere else in Oakville. The stock is mostly 1950s through 1970s construction on well-proportioned lots, and the condition runs from untouched originals to to fully renovated homes. If you're looking at an unrenovated bungalow in that central region, they generally run around $735,000 to about $1,050,000. If you're looking for a renovated bungalow, you're more likely in the $1,200,000 to $1,300,000 range. What do people like about the central location? It's practical. It is central to service, transit, parks, schools, day-to-day living, everything is in one spot. A lot of people hear bungalow and they think simple. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is just a different kind of word. In Central, you really want to look carefully at what has actually been updated and what has just been refreshed. Fresh counters and paint are not the same as a meaningful renovation. Living in a bungalow can remove the stairs, but if this bathroom is still a tight fit or the laundry room is downstairs and the lot feels like too much work, then you're not really simplifying your life. Who is this location best for? I like to say first-time downsizers, that younger, just retiring person, or maybe an adult child wanting the parents to move into the basement. Why would I select that central neighborhood? The amenities, the choice and styles of bungalows, renovated, unrenovated, gives you a lot of choice in a very practical location. We are now in the west part of Oakville, which is north of Rebecca, south of the QEW. As we just went through Central, there's an eclectic mix of houses. We had the wartime bungalows, we had the 60s bungalows and the 70s bungalows, but what they had all in common was they were on larger lots, which means that there's two choices that can come out of having the larger lots. Is people can renovate their bungalows and make them a little bigger, a little more spacious, or they can tear them down and make the larger properties. So again, in West, you'll see a combination of unrenovated bungalows, renovated bungalows, and brand new rebuilds. So let's have a look. So let's just take a little walk through. This is a street called Burton Road, and I'll just give you an example of some of the different types of homes you'll see on this street and indicative of this whole neighborhood. Behind me, you'll see it's a bungalow. It's a late 50s, early 60s. The owners haven't done a lot of renovations there. They kept it pretty well the same. If you go to my right here, there's a sample of a bungalow where people have started to do the exteriors, changing the brick color, making it more appealing from the roadway. When we talk about unrenovated, we don't mean unkept. We just mean that they've kept that structure the way it is. It's met the people's needs for many years. Many of my clients that have lived in these neighborhoods have been here for 40 years and they've seen no need to make any changes. And again, if you're looking behind me, you'll see that original bungalow there, and beside it is gentrification. Because the lots in these neighborhoods are very big, is that they are allowed to build larger detached homes. So it's been very profitable for builders over the last 10 years is to tear down the older bungalows and build larger detached homes. Again, with the market slowing down a little bit, there's not as much new building going on. There's most people buying and renovating the existing bungalows. And as we walk by here, here's an example of a bungalow, and you'll see minor renovations. I don't know what's done on the inside, but you'll see the skylights, the windows have been done, the new front entranceway with interlocking brick, and the landscaping is really nice here. So that's a sort of a well-kept bungalow, not a lot of outside renovations, but for some very effective outdoor features, especially the front entranceway. As we walk down, there's the same type of bungalow where they've done extensive outside renovations. The peak roofs have been added. They all started off the same way, and they can do some wonderful exterior renovations. And obviously the one behind me, I bet, has some really beautiful interior renovations. A couple of things when you're in an area that's going through this gentrification, and this is going to be happening for the next 25 years as these properties turn over, is that if you're buying a unrenovated bungalow, look at what your neighbors have done, because many times someone might buy it and they want to renovate, or they want to build a new property. So again, you might be in a construction zone for a year. This neighborhood, just picture it's more of a subdivision neighborhood where there's not a lot of walking to amenities. There's a bus stop down the way there that you can get to a lot of places, but it's not for someone that's not driving because you aren't close to shops and services that you might need as you get older. Let's just walk down Pineland here and have a look at what's being built. You can see a lot of the newer construction. These are large homes. They'll be 3, 4, sometimes 5,000 square feet. And a lot of people do a great job at having them fit into the neighborhood. And the styles of the new homes here can be changed from sort of a traditional look with the pillars out front to the ultra modern, which is, you can see to my right here, that's just being finished off. And here is going to be a classic example of when gentrification hits. You have the modern home here, you have the original bungalow here, and then you have the modern home to the left. Once they're all finished, they're great, but during that construction phase, it can be a little disturbing. We'll see more and more unrenovated bungalows, but there will be a point where someone is either going to do a massive renovation or they'll just replace it with a larger home. I think though this walk around has given you a good indication of what this neighborhood looks like and the different kinds of homes here and what people have done in the neighborhood. I get asked this question a lot, is it worth renovating a bungalow when people are just building the bigger houses? With the changing demographics and this wave of people getting older, the more and more people looking for that fixed up, really renovated bungalow, pretty well anything you do to a bungalow in these neighborhoods, you'll always get a good return on your investment. Now that we're back at the office, let's break down West Oakville. It recently had 17 bungalow sales, which makes it an area that is turning over at a regular rate. Stock of bungalows is largely 1960 to 1980 detached bungalows on 50 or 60-foot frontages, usually around 1,000 to 1,400 square feet. If you're looking for an unrenovated bungalow here, you're probably talking about $850 to $1 million range, maybe a little more. If you're looking for a renovated one, 1.1 to 1.4 or $1.5 million range. As you can see by the videos, the west location has different pockets with different areas of gentrification, some larger homes, some smaller homes, some original bungalows. What do people like about West Oakville? It is stable, even though it's going through transition and gentrification. It is a nice neighborhood. Again, it offers a wide selection of bungalows, and you're not paying a huge premium being on the west side of Oakville. So when looking at the west neighborhood, you're not as close to amenities as Central, and we're going to look at Bronte next. But you can feel comfortable with the fact that it's an area in transition. If I buy a bungalow that I'm going to do a little renovation to, we always know that there's going to be a market value because people are buying them and putting larger detached homes are. But if I want to totally renovate or gut that bungalow, I will also get my money back because the area is being pulled up by a lot of the gentrification in the neighborhood. So for that value-focused buyer, I think that that West has a lot of opportunities there. It takes a little shopping to find that exactly the right type of home you're looking for, that right bungalow on the right lot. But again, lots of choice and lots of different options available. Here is another side note I would like to add. You really have to define what you're looking for when we're shopping for that bungalow. Are you looking for just the lot, that perfect lot that maybe backs onto a ravine, or it's wide enough for a pool or an entertainment area? Am I just buying a lot? Am I looking at the design of the bungalow also? Will it fit my lifestyle? Is it got the room to I can expand or take walls out to make it more comfortable as I age in place? Or is it a bungalow that I really want to do extensive renovation and know that when I just go to sell it, that the market in that neighborhood will increase in value with the more renovation as I do. So these are things that we discuss as we're going through that process of making that housing plan, seeing what's out in the market, and then modifying it to make sure we're meeting your needs and meeting the future needs, because we always have to look at resale in the future. Again, just a little tidbit that I pass on. Well, after that little tidbit, let's move on to our next area. Now we're actually in the Bronte neighborhood, which really starts west of 3rd Line, south of Rebecca. And actually we're on a street called Wales Crescent, which will give you a little cross-section of what's happening in the neighborhood. Actually behind me, I'll give a little plug out, that's my sister's home. She moved actually from East Oakville to West Oakville just to get that smaller one-floor bungalow, but she still wanted a good-sized lot where she could do the gardening that she's very proud of all the time. So way to go, sis. We walk down the street a little bit. We have some split levels. But yeah, as you can see, some of the people started renovating the exteriors of these bungalows. You'll notice these bungalows are on larger lot series, many of them 60 and 70 foot frontage, so they're more elongated, almost that more ranch style bungalow. With these big lots, as we've talked about before, people will utilize the larger space to do some brand new 2-stories that we'll walk by in a second. But again, it gives you the choice here. You can keep them original, you can renovate the outside and update them. They still look beautiful even when they haven't had a lot of outside work done on them. So this neighborhood we're just west of 3rd Line, just off Hickson, like a kilometer from the lake here. I cut across here. I can walk to the shopping centers. I have Coronation Park. It's really a very walkable neighborhood. One thing about these neighborhoods, I don't know if you can pick it up on the microphone, but all I hear is birds chirping. You can't really hear a lot of noise, even though Rebecca gets quite busy, and it's just a block to the north there. But a really quiet neighborhood. Again, some more bungalows that they've done the exterior renovation, and there's other people that have lived here for 40, 50 years, and they've chosen not to update it and just to keep it the way it is. And a lot of them knew that at some point in time, someone will buy it and probably tear down that bungalow or do massive renovations. So there was really no point in updating it for that original owner. As we walk down the street here to the right, there's 2 newer builds. I think these people have done a really great job fitting into the neighborhood. It's very, they don't stand out like a lot of the new builds that are more intrusive to the neighborhood. But again, you have a rebuild, and then you have an original bungalow there. On a street like this one, again with the larger lot sizes, you're going to be paying a premium because of the large frontage and the large depths on this, because you're going to be competing probably with builders at this time because they recognize the value of the larger lots to build a brand new home. You're getting more space, more ability to do things to your home, and it's just it's a beautiful neighborhood. When purchasing a bungalow, you'll see price discrepancies. Some of it's due to neighborhood. Some neighborhoods are closer to the amenities, so they bring bigger values, like we talked about Central, and we're going to talk Bronte. But also the value with the land is, we talk about the wider frontage. I mean, building lots are sold by the front foot, and there's actually a multiplication factor that we talk about is, if I tear down a bungalow, how big of a house can I build? So the wider the footprint, the deeper the footprint is, the more I can build on that, which increases the value. So you really need someone that can explain why one lot is worth X number of dollars and one is worth a lot more. Again, as with the lot sizes and the multiplication factor, is some people can own a bungalow and they say it's worth a lot of money because the guy 2 doors down got a lot of money. But it could be a factor of lot size. A 60-footer seems almost the same as a 70, but when you're thinking about building something new, it makes a big difference. So again, you need someone that can see what's overpriced, see what's good value, and move forward from there. We're doing this series on bungalows, sort of where do I go from here, sort of that next transition. But sometimes when we're looking at that next transition, we should be looking at the next one too, is when the bungalow is no longer meeting my needs. Maybe I'm looking at a condominium. Can I stay within the same neighborhood? Or maybe I want a townhouse. And one thing about Bronte is I can go from a bungalow, I could go to a townhouse, I could go to a condominium and stay within the same 3-block radius. Okay, we're into the Bronte location. There's been 11 recent sales of bungalows in that neighborhood. It's a really diverse neighborhood. Again, there's been a lot of gentrification in that neighborhood, so you'll see large 2,500, 3,500, 4,500 square foot homes that people have knocked down the bungalows and built those larger homes, but there's still beautiful bungalows that are available in that neighborhood. So the actual bungalow stock is from anywhere from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, different styles that you'll see there. But again, the walkability is what's important in this neighborhood. You can walk to Farm Boy, you can walk to Shoppers Drug Mart, you can walk to the lake, and it's that village, almost a village feel to it. Again, it's a little more expensive than different neighborhoods in Oakville, where a base rundown, not rundown, but unrenovated bungalow could be $1.1 million, $1.2 million range. And that can, a fixed up bungalow, a totally renovated, go up to $1.5 million, $1.6 million range. So again, there's something for everybody in that bungalow market. It's really getting out there and seeing what you like and what is going to meet your needs. So in closing, in the Bronte location, the beauty of that is that you can move into that neighborhood maybe just as you retired. You could renovate that bungalow and live there, and you could stay in the neighborhood because you have a lot of condominiums that are, we like to call them naturally occurring retirement communities. But you have the Ennisclair buildings down there, where if you wanted, selling that bungalow, moving actually just down the street to Marine Drive, and you can live in that condo and stay within the same neighborhood and feel comfortable that you have the same amenities around you. One of the things we have to watch out for when we're looking at bungalows is the lot sizes can be quite large. You know, we talked about 60-foot or 75-foot frontages by 120. That lot size also becomes very attractive for builders to build a larger home on it. So we don't want to be paying a lot of money for or competing with a builder when we wouldn't probably use that much lot space. So again, we don't want to be paying for a 75-foot frontage or a 60-foot frontage when all we need is that 60 and we're not paying a lot of extra money for land that we're probably not going to use. Let's move on to our next neighborhood. Welcome to the neighborhood which is called Ford. This is in the south, most easterly section of Oakville. This has been a planned subdivision back in the late 70s, early 80s. Where the consumer had a choice of what type of house they wanted to purchase. In the background, you'll see there's two-story homes, side splits homes, but there's also many smaller bungalows that were part of this subdivision. And this is an example of a bungalow here, well manicured, well maintained. These are either on 40s or 50-foot lots. Some of them may be larger. But if we walk over on this side of the road, here's another example of a bungalow within the subdivision. There's many different styles. They have the brick fronts, they have the stone fronts. If we look down here, there's someone's done a little more renovations on them. But again, it's a sense of community. You're in a very quiet subdivision, so if you're looking for that quiet lifestyle, this would be the area to live in. So if we're walking through the neighborhood, you know, you're really on the border of actually Mississauga and Oakville. Your lakeshore is just down the street here, so you can walk to the lake and the parks. Great school systems all around here. You know, for a sense of community, there's schools and there's parks. But again, you're in a subdivision it's very quiet. So your walkability to stores and shopping, I mean, you're pretty well driving everywhere if you're living in this community. Many of these bungalows have been kept in original condition. People have raised their families there and kept it the same. They haven't done many extensive renovations, so this is what I call sort of that unrenovated look on the outside. And we're just going to walk to another one where they've done extensive renovations on the outside so you can see what can be done. So here's a great example of sort of an original looking bungalow and someone that has done outside extensive renovations. So on my left there is pretty well a basic unrenovated bungalow. And on the right hand side, they've stepped it up with the stone front, the new front door, the large picture windows, and if you can't see down the side, they've taken the brick facade and put a stucco finish on it. So again, there's lots you can do with these type of properties. Okay, back at the office, let's look at the area. And we're going to post the map, and this is an area called the Ford area, obviously because Ford is it's an Oakville landmark. In this Ford neighborhood, we've had 19 recent bungalow sales, and it's one of Oakville's most active and diverse communities. The housing stock ranges from the 1950s to the 60s to the 70s. A lot of this neighborhood was built in the 70s and part of a larger, sort of that subdivision feel. You'll have bungalows that look modern, then you'll have backsplits, then you'll have two stories, all mixed in. If you've ever been to a sales office, is that you get to pick sort of what style you want. So it's not so much that 50s feeling or that 60s feeling. It's more that subdivision type feel in this neighborhood. In this neighborhood, if you're looking for an unrenovated bungalow, high 900 area to 1.1 million. Renovated homes can be 1.2, 1.3. Again, it's all depend renovated, totally renovated, or cosmetic. You could get up to $1.6 million, $1.7 million for something that's been really done well. Again, the uniqueness of this neighborhood is you're in southeast Oakville, and you drive through that is you're close to homes that are $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 million. So again, even though the houses look similar to the west part of Oakville, they could be a little more money just because of the proximity to the higher end marketplace. I mean, what do people like about this neighborhood? Again, it's closer to getting into the city, into Toronto. It's East Oakville, it's Southeast Oakville. It has the feel of, that very expensive neighborhood. It's still walkability. You can walk to the lake. You can, it is a jaunt, but you can walk downtown and enjoy that. You can walk to the parks. There's a lot of things to do in the neighborhood. If you're looking for something that you're walking to shopping, it's not the neighborhood for you, but it is a gorgeous neighborhood. So it's just a recap. we're talking about Ford right now, but in all areas when buying a bungalow, let's put them in different categories. A lot of older bungalows that haven't been renovated, it is really you're buying land value only. It seems kind of funny, there's a building there, but people are just paying for that piece of dirt there. The next one category is that you have one that if people have updated over time, maybe it's the newer washrooms, maybe they've taken out a wall, you know, in between the kitchen and the dining room. They've done some nice, I'd say, cosmetic renovations. And the third one is that people that do a tremendous job in just gutting some of these and making them totally open concept, adding, you know, a master ensuite, they're taking bedrooms out and putting large ensuite washrooms there. Some tremendous upgrades that can be put into them, additions at the back. So again, is it land value? Is it a nice cosmetically fixed up one? Or is it a totally renovated, top of the line? Again, the price ranges could be, you could have a $500,000, $750,000 gap from that land value to that totally renovated. What is our goal we want to achieve, and where do we want to fit into this? Do we want to do it all ourselves? We want something that's just comfortable I can live in, or do I want something that is spectacular and fully renovated? Again, that's why you work with a realtor that can help you make those decisions. With those three choices, it gets confusing with you're on you know, your favorite realtor.ca. You'll see one bungalow for $1 million, then you'll see one that looks identical to it, and it's 1.5 million. You go, what's the difference? Well, I tell you, there's, you know, what is it back onto? It, you know, is the lot at 60? Is it a 50? Is it a 45-foot frontage, or is it a 60-foot frontage? What things have they done to it to add that value? So again, it's neat to shop online and look at pictures, but again, we have to go and examine all the fine details that, you know, to get the correct value of what you're looking at. And again, that's my job. Just on that note is that when people are marketing bungalows, you know, Mr. Smith goes, well, my neighbor sold for $1.5 million. I want $1.5 million. Again, he probably didn't see what was done on the inside of that other bungalow. So many times a bungalow will be, you know, overpriced just because of the diversity in the marketplace of, is it land value, is it cosmetic, or is it a total renovation? So again, it's being very careful of what I'm buying. Welcome. We're actually in the Falgarwood area of Oakville, which is north of the QEW, south of Dundas. It's an older section of town, and it seems like sometimes it's a forgotten section because people always focus on the southern parts of Oakville, but I think it's a great value here. Come on, let's go for a walk. Actually, we'll start right behind me here. You don't have as much gentrification here as we have a new two-story being built, but it's not a monster one like we've seen in some of the other videos. Quite a mix of homes. You know, when we have such a broad area, you know, we talked about West Oakville, we talked about Bronte, we talked about Central. And Falgarwood's the same, as you'll have a wide variety, anything from townhouses to two stories. But there is a lot of bungalows here, a lot of ranch-style bungalows, which we're going to see on my right here, that have the larger frontages. I think the last two sales in this neighborhood for a bungalow was $850 and $925. I saw a beautiful renovated one at $1.3 million. So again, it all comes down to, have they been renovated inside, outside? Are they original condition? You know, people have done a lot of neat things with a bungalow like this. This is a newer two-story that was put in. If we turn around, if I'll walk around this way, again, you have the more ranch-style bungalows, which means they have the larger frontages versus the smaller ones on 50-foot lots. Well, let's just walk down a little further and see what we can find. These older neighborhoods, we have people that have been here for 40 years. This was their house they bought to raise their families and are still here. We have young couples that really wanted that detached home. They wanted the land, so they're moving into these neighborhoods. It's quiet, it's peaceful. We talk about walkability all the time. It's not really walkable to a lot of amenities. You know, so it's more designed for that downsizer that's still driving and still wants to maintain the lawn and do some gardening. The homes look really nice, but again, you have to ask yourself, do I want to look after that much lawn? So I guess that's a consideration we have here. There are a few split levels. This one here would be a three-level side split. Large frontages, you get that ranch-style bungalow feel. It's actually, you know, I haven't been up this way in a while. It's a beautiful street. If you love trees and you love peace and quiet, this is really a neighborhood for you. If you go and pan down both sides, again, you don't see a lot of gentrification yet. It's more more people maintaining the integrity of the existing bungalows, especially ones that we're walking by right now, is that you can do so much with this ranch style bungalow. When you renovate the insides, you really don't need much more space. Here's one that's someone obviously taken down the bungalow and built a two-story, but it fits in nicely here. Actually, we're going to go back to the office and look at some more detailed numbers on this neighborhood, but we're going to post those on the screen because, to tell you the truth, I don't want to go back to the office. It's such a gorgeous day out here. So even though you're in that subdivision feel, it's just up the street is 8th line. You can hop onto the 403. We're just down, you go down 8th line and you're onto the QEW. So access is really good. You're not far from Oakville Place. You're not far from the GO station. So even though it feels like a bit of country here, it doesn't take long for you to get to all the amenities you need. If you want to save yourself a lot of time, download my Oakville Bungalow Area Guide. In this video, we looked at 5 of the main bungalow areas in Oakville. The guide gives you a bigger picture. It includes all 9 Oakville bungalow areas that I've researched, with the usual price ranges, what kind of buyer each area tends to fit, and what you want to watch out for before you start booking showings. And if you're actively looking, join my Oakville Bungalow watch list. That is where I send out notable bungalow listings in Oakville, along with a few plain English notes on what looks promising, what looks maybe overpriced, and what I think downsizers should be paying attention to. That way, instead of starting from scratch every time a listing appears, you can start narrowing it down to the right area, the right kind of bungalow, and the right next steps for you. You'll find both links below.